we're here. I'm Miss Rachel. Got it. I love that. It's always so fun. Always so fun. At least it's at the beginning, right? Before we get started. All right, let's go ahead and pray. God, we thank you so much for today. We thank you for this chance to be able to meet teachers and parents together, to be able to talk through this partnership, this incredible partnership that together to be able to raise up these incredible young people. I pray that our time together today will be productive and enlightening and a great time for us to be able to get on the same page at the beginning of this school year. We love you, Jesus, and we thank you so much for this opportunity that we get to love these children together. In your name we pray. Amen. Good morning, parents. I'm going to hand it over to Mr. John.
All right. Welcome, parents, to our Senior School Glow. Hopefully, everyone's a little familiar with that. We actually got to have a middle school and senior school glow this year, so that's been super exciting. I'm Mr. John. I think all know me. I'm the curriculum coordinator, as well as this year the grade 8 homeroom teacher. And I'm really excited to be able to present our team to you, as well as our plans for this year. One of those plans is that exciting news that now we have a proper middle school. But that also means that we have for senior school. And so your students get to go into the true top of the school, only 9th and 10th grade in a next level, really, of what we're providing as a school, in what we're expecting for them, and in how we're hoping to create for them and to allow them to exercise leadership and to grow as individuals and to just take on a new role in our school now that we have grade 10 for the first year this year. So we are super excited about that. I hope you guys are, and we're really excited to see how that's going to grow over the coming years as we have 10th in our school. Students that are a little older, that are a little more mature, and they're able to provide that kind of extra leadership to our entire body. A reminder before we get into the academic stuff is academics is not all that matters. At Sphpv Village, we really believe that your children's social and spiritual growth is every bit as important as their academic growth. And we want to create a holistic learning environment where they get opportunities to grow in these ways as well. One of the things that's been really identified throughout this pandemic and period of home learning is just how important these things are, just how important it is that we don't toss them out of the side because we're in home learning, but we need to focus on them almost more than before, because your children are not getting other opportunities to grow in these ways that they would normally get. So as a reminder to you guys, we have chapel once a week where we get to lead the students in that. And during that, sometimes we'll have people speaking, but sometimes we'll have discussion groups. Sometimes we might have panel discussions. We're being more and more creative every year as we get a bigger team and more people to help out in how we do chapel and in how we work to help your children grow spiritually. We pulled off our first ever virtual retreat last year. We don't need to be able to travel out to do it. I love to be able to travel out to do it, and I can't wait to be able to do that again. But we are totally ready to go to online retreats as well. And many of the students said that was their absolute favorite thing last year when we pulled them, we talked to them. So we're really excited to start planning that in the coming weeks and get one of those ready so we can make sure we still take that time out of school to focus on them as people, to get them thinking, to get them dwelling, to get them worshiping, and to get them just really developing and taking time out to think about their social and spiritual growth. We have devotions and homeroom time. And again, that's very important. If anything, that might be even more important again during home learning, that your child is on time for devotions and homeroom time. That way they get to start their day off right. Please make sure they're there so that we can begin the day with prayer, with devotions, with meditation, and just set them up to learn and set them up to grow and set them up to start their day off right. Mission service learning, again, is a little different than before. I'll let Miss Rachel maybe share a little bit about that with you as we can't go out to do things, but we're still looking for opportunities to make sure your children are being exposed to different people and opportunities for service and ways to learn about others and get beyond themselves. Activities period is something we really brought in a lot last year and a little bit before that at school. And we've decided to double that this year and have 2 activities periods a week, in part because the kids need it. They need those social opportunities to grow and to learn new things. We also have more teachers, which gives us the ability to offer more activities than ever before and to really expand some of the programs your students are able to get. And again, that could range from things like prepping for a competition to extra math class to something fun that we don't normally have to put in our schedule, like watercolor or chess club. There's a wide range of activities that we change every term. We're really excited for that. And student council is growing as well. Again, we have now the opportunity to have kids that have been in student for years and who are building on that program. And Miss Rachel and those students are really going to continue to build that program this year. And I'm excited to see how student council continues to expand and to grow and to make activities for our students and to offer leadership opportunities as well. So that's really exciting. Just a reminder about home learning environments. If you can help us, please. We as teachers will do everything in our power, but we're confined to our space just like your children are to your space. We can't go and check on them. We can't create the work environment for them like we can at school when they can attend school. And so please help us out by creating a good learning environment for your children. Make sure they have a quiet space. Make sure they have headphones if that's not possible. So if you have multiple kids and they need to share a space, make sure they each have a pair of headphones, preferably noise canceling ones, so that they can hear their teacher and focus on their work and not be distracted by their siblings while they're in the middle of class. Make sure they have a desk table to work from. Again, this is really important. It's very important they're not trying to work from their bed or something like that. It's better for their posture. It's better for their focus. It helps them to separate work from relaxation and other things. And so please make sure they have a desk or a table to work with that's clear and large with plenty of space. Make sure they've got paper, Post-it notes, planners, pens and pencils available. We want to try and send out some learning packets and assign some things from physical books and textbooks so that they're not just staring at a computer screen all day. But you have to help us out by making sure they have the materials for that so that when a teacher asks them to do something physically, they're prepared to do it. They're not having to run around and grab those. So please make sure that their workspace has all those things. Make sure their textbooks are nearby and help us help set them up for success. In terms of homework expectations, we are now all in senior school, grades 9 and 10. And so all of your students should be expected to do about 2 to 2.5 hours of homework a day after the school day ends. That's a bit and more than they have in the younger grades, but it's part of preparing them for the IGCSE exams at the end of the year, and as well as going into probably IB classes next year, where they'll need to be ready to do that kind of work and prepare. So if you remember in the younger years, we have a kind of progression of homework and it adds a little bit kind of every year. Grade 9, 10, senior school, our expectation is about 2 to 2.5 hours a day. We'll do our best to assign the appropriate amount. Please keep an eye on that and help us with it. Help to make sure your children are doing it, and hopefully they shouldn't be up into the middle of the night. Help them to manage their time to do that work in the early afternoon so they can get their sleep, so they can get some play, so they can get some exercise. Help them in that way. As a side note, we have a separate time in the schedule that we made last year. It is work time. It's a period where their teachers have specifically assigned them asynchronous work, and that's not homework. There's a double period, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. That's about an hour and a half almost of asynchronous work time for them to work on projects in addition to homework. So they might work on their homework during that time. If they get ahead, that's fine. But keep in mind that they are being assigned more asynchronous work than just the homework amount, because a good chunk of it is supposed to be done at school during PBL time. And if you ever go to their room in the middle of the day during the PBL time and you find them not working, they have work to do. Every single one, teachers are assigning them the exact same amount of work as the number of periods would be. It's just they have a little more freedom to choose which they're going to work on at what time, so they can prioritize and so that they can maybe spend more than one class period working on a project sometimes. But they should always have work to do during that middle of the day work time. It's not a break. It is work time with intentional work in addition to the homework and separate from their homework. Class etiquette. This is how we used last year. If you check the report card, how we tracked student behavior. Again, we have very limited tools as teachers online. I cannot go to your children's room and give them attention if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so in order to make sure the students meet some expectations and stay focused, we set these expectations up, and they've been clearly explained to them. Make sure students ask, you know what they're expected. So during class, they're expected to show on time, just like your class, just like in a regular school. And if they don't, they'll be marked down in class that they're expected to wear a uniform, just like with the need for and on Wednesday they can wear they wear the same shirt, and Friday they can wear a batik, and they can wear their PE shirt if they want to, as long as it's the Sphpv PE shirt or their white uniform. The other very important thing is they are expected to be on camera and show their face, their whole face, all of it. That is our expectation. So if you see them off, they're not meeting the expectation. We're expecting them to show their face. Now, if your child has a situation where they really don't feel comfortable with that, you can contact us. They can contact us. We'll arrange a where they don't have it on camera. But the expectation, unless you've heard from their teacher, is that they should be showing so we can tell they're working. That's about the only way we can try to keep a track of what they're doing. So please help us by supporting us in that, in making sure your child is showing their face camera, is on time, is wearing their uniform, so that they can be set up to focus and to learn during this period of learning. Once a week, teachers will be updating sort of how they're doing on that, on management of the grade. Then it'll go into a work habit on the report card at the end of the term. End of the term, you will see roughly how they're doing, but we'll let you know if there's a major issue, but just be aware of the expectation. Speaking of attendance is very important. I realize that things happen, things come up, and sometimes you can't attend. But please help us out by giving us advance warning whenever possible, just like with regular school, if your child is going to school. So if you're traveling, if you're going to Bali or something, last year a number of parents chose to drive to Bali because it was safer and they felt more comfortable, but that meant it took a while and the children were in the car for a day or two. Please let us know at least 2 weeks ahead of time so we can try to your child plan ahead and get their work done in advance. If they're going to take a test, we can arrange another time for them to take the test. If we need to send them something, it's us prepare them for that time. No, they're going to be missing it. So if you're going to be traveling, please give a 2 week notice if possible or more. If your students in school and it's not traveling, it's just that they're going to vaccine, they're going to the embassy for something, please let us know 2 days in advance. Those things require you to plan ahead. So please, as soon as you let us know, so that again, we plan for their missing class and help them out. If a student is sick, obviously can't predict that. So just let us know as soon as possible first thing in the morning so that we're not scrambling around looking to figure out where they are. We know they're sick and then we can help them out whenever they feel better. Teachers will be in contact with you if a student misses class. And I believe if they miss 3 or more classes, they'll communicate directly with you as the parents to kind of check in and see why they've missed that class. So you should be getting notified if your child is missing this. And please help your student be ready 5 minutes before devotions. This is important. They can't just walk into their room at the time. They need to have their computer turned on. They need to give it a minute or two to warm up. They need to get Microsoft Teams, and they need to make sure they're ready. So please get them ready at least 5 minutes in advance so that they're ready to go 100% at 7:30 when devotion starts. This will help them just be ready for their day and have success. Technology, a few key things. Number one, and I think Ms. Stephanie will probably repeat this, each 9th grade student at Sphpv, not just Blewett, at Sphpv, and basically at any international school in Jakarta or school anywhere pretty much, is required to have a TI 84 plus graphing calculator by the end of the year, by the end of term 1, sorry. And that is because they use it for math class. They're going to use it for the rest of their math classes. 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, any math classes they take, they'll need to have ability of a TI 84 plus calculator. I needed to have one when I was a student. They need to have one. This is the standard. It has to happen. So please, if you have not bought one already for your child who's in 9th grade, buy one now, order it. So it has plenty of time to get here in time for that and you're not late. They cannot do the math they need to do and learn the functions they need to function. They don't have the calculator they need to learn it on. So please, please, please make sure they've got that by the end of term 1 at the latest. Second thing, technology-wise, that we need is your child needs a laptop computer with a working webcam and microphone that can run Microsoft apps. And I highlight this because last year we had some students trying to work on iPads. It's not enough. I know some families have multiple children and you try to give one student the laptop and one student the iPad. iPads are great support devices. They are not sufficient for online learning. They cannot run the functions. They cannot multitask in the right ways. They go in to run an app and their camera turns off and then the teacher can't tell if they're focused and paying attention or not. Please, please, please make sure your child has a functional laptop computer or desktop computer. That's fine. With a webcam, that works. And that can run Microsoft Office apps. Microsoft Office apps are not hard to run. Don't let your child tell you that they need a $2,000 gaming computer. They don't. A simple, cheap laptop will be sufficient. Just double check it can run Microsoft Office apps and it has a working webcam. And then they should be able to do what they need to do to learn. So it should not mean you need to spend a lot of money, but make sure they have a full laptop. They can type on it. They can work with it. It's just so much easier for them to learn than if they try to do it on just an iPad or a phone or a tablet. Everyone who's tried that has struggled, and we want to help your kids be set up for success in home learning. Also, again, great if they have headphones available. Sometimes teachers need to play videos or they need to listen to something, or for whatever reason, they need to cut away distractions. Maybe there's construction going on next door or a big thunderstorm. It really, really helps them to have a good pair of headphones nearby that they can pop on to help them during home learning. I think this is my last technology thing. Microsoft Teams is our main platform. And I just briefly want to mention this because in case you want to, if your student is struggling, I want to mention it's useful for class video calls, but also for student-teacher communication. All of your children can talk to us on there as a chat. We're in the system and they're in the system. And so anytime they need help, they can message us. Obviously, if we're in class, we won't be able to help them right away, but we'll be able to answer their message as soon as we can. And there are two specific times during the day where all of your children's core teachers or all of their teachers, depending on the time, are available. So during that PBL period, that asynchronous work time in the middle of the day, all of the core teachers are available. And so if your child is having trouble understanding a concept or needs some help or wants something re-explained to them or didn't understand something, they can chat and even do a private call with any of their teachers where the teacher can sit down and give them one-on-one support and instruction during that time. We're all available and happy to use that time to help them. So please encourage your child to contact us during that time if they're having any problems. As well, at the end of the day, from 2:50 to 3:20, we have office hours. All of your teachers, specialists and core, are available during that time. We're expected to be at our computers with our Microsoft Teams up, and we're available again to chat or to call or to give personalized answers to questions or extra help if any students need extra help. So if your child needs anything, please encourage them to take advantage of that. They all know how to use Teams. We're using it for all of our calls. I'm contacting all of them for classes. They all know how to use it, but tell them, contact your teacher. We're there. We are available. They just need to let us know what they need help with. Next thing is the curriculum. We are in a new curriculum, grade 9 and 10. Grade 9 was already doing it last year, but if your child wasn't in grade 9 last year, they now have moved from Cambridge Lower Secondary, what we do in 6th through 8th grade, to Cambridge IGCSE, which is the 9th and 10th grade program. It's a 2-year program. So the 10th graders started it last year, and all of us have been working through that curriculum to get them prepared with the first roughly half of it that ends in the end of 10th grade with a series of exams. These exams are standardized and assessed throughout the world and provided by Cambridge and used for a variety of things. So there is an extra layer, of course, of pressure that goes with that. Senior school is a little more rigorous than middle school. And that's one of the great things of having a true senior school and a true middle school. But we have been working to prepare them for these exams from primary school. Cambridge is a pathway. The programs build on each other, primary, lower secondary, upper secondary. So while this is the first year that we have 10th grade, those exams, they've been being prepared since they were in junior school. We've always been a Cambridge school at Sphpv Blewett Village. We've been following their curriculum. We've been following their pathway. And so we've been preparing your children for their entire schooling. I'm confident we're going to have good results. We're going to keep working, especially with the 10th graders, specifically helping them prepare for those exams, finishing off the curriculum, working on the skills, looking at some sample exams and things to help them understand how to do that. And they will be well prepared. As a team, we're going to spend a lot of time this year working on that and making sure they are. But we've been preparing them for years. It's not just this year and even these 2 years. So we're in IGCSE. That means that there are those exams at the end, and we'll be monitoring that schedule and submitting things and letting you know as things come up. It also means there's a slightly different grade scale. Okay, I don't have it here. I don't know why. But the grade scale from middle school was numbers 7 through 1, 7 being an EE, exceeding expectations, a 1 being NYM, and we need to fix that. IGCSE switches to letters, and so an A star is the grades. If you're checking your students' grades, we'll be reporting them as an A star is the same as an EE, roughly. An A is the same as an ME plus, a B is an ME, meeting expectations, a C is an ME minus, and anything below a C, a D, E, F, is where you get into that area of we're in trouble, now we're failing and we need to really pick this up and improve on it. Those come with some pretty standardized percentages, each one going down from the AE is a 10%. So a 90% to 100 is an A star, the same as an EE, an 80 to 90% is an A, and then it goes down and goes down and goes down in terms of if your student's being assessed in something with percentages, that's how they're calculated. If otherwise, we still assess a lot of things with rubrics the way we have in the past as well, where they just get that A star grade. So if you see those, if you're a little confused, you can find the information on ManageBack. You can always send me or your teachers a message. That's the way Cambridge assesses it, how their grades are going to come back when they give their tests. So we want the students to be familiar with that. They change the way they do it between lower secondary and upper secondary. So following the IGCSE upper secondary standards. All right, let's meet some teachers. This is hopefully especially fantastic new teachers this year. I recognize I don't think we have any new parents, but we do have some great new teachers, great new additions to the team. I'm excited to work with them. We have a stellar team here, and it's been really to meet those new teachers and just to see how engaged they are, how teaching flows out of them, and how much they care about our students, and how many new ideas they bring into our team. And I'm really excited to see what they're going to add to our team and to our school in this coming year. So with me so that I can be done. I'm Mr. John again. I'm the senior school curriculum coordinator. My 10th year teaching at Sphpv, 6 years at LV, and now 4 at PV, going into my 4th year at PV. I grew up in the USA and graduated from Wheaton College with my degree in history and secondary education. And I'll be teaching 9th and 10th grade Global Perspectives, which is a course that is going to begin with the most recent parts of history. In 9th grade, basically, we look at 20th century history and World War II and the Cold War and the Indonesian Republic and how it plays into all that, and human rights and how human rights abuses come out of all that and what we can do about that. And then we segue away from conflict and peace and into looking a little bit at disease and other things. In 10th grade, we really look at contemporary global issues. We look at what's happening in the world today. A variety of key things from poverty to migration to globalization and technology. It's super fun. We're going to really look at discuss. We all have skills, and our test at the end is actually skills based. It's not test based. So throughout that, we'll be practicing different skills the students will use to prepare themselves for the final exam, as well as writing an individual report and doing a large group project. I do the group project in 9th grade. We do the individual report in 10th grade, and the exam will come at the end of 10th grade. So if you have a 9th grade student, expect them to have a huge group project they're working on in GP at some point. If you have a 10th grade one, they'll be writing a nice big paper for me. And then in the end of 10th grade, we'll do the written exam. So I'm going to pass it on to Adi.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So my name is Adi, and this is my 14th year as a teacher. So I've been a teacher since 2007. And this past 14 years, I've been teaching from grade 1 until grade 12. And currently I'll be teaching grade 7 until 10 for Bahasa and BPKN. And for grade 9 and 10, we will be using the Cambridge IGCSE for Bahasa Indonesia. So it's going to be different from 8 and as grade 7 and 8. Yeah. And as we are learning Bahasa, which means that this is we are talking about language acquisition. So students are encouraged to have active participation in class. So they have to be an active learner to master a language. So this is something that I would like to emphasize to students, and I kindly ask your help also so that you can encourage your students to turn on their microphone and be active participants of the class, of the learning as well. Thank you.
All right, I think again, Ms. Dinda wasn't able to make it, so I'll go ahead and introduce her. Ms. Dinda is our art teacher, our visual art teacher. She was born in Bandung and moved to Singapore. She graduated from Loughborough University in the UK with a Bachelor of the Arts in Graphic Communications. She believes creativity is the key to success. She's an art teacher with 7 years of experience in international school settings. She taught a couple years at the Lippo Chicharon campus, and now she's here. And so she's had experience in a range of international school programs in art. She knows what the students need to be able to produce to succeed in those programs at high levels. And I personally am super excited for what Dinda's doing with our art program. She's been spending a lot of time building it up last year and building it up this year. And really, I'm excited to see the way our students' art is going to grow and continue to grow and the high quality artworks they're going to produce. She's doing a lot with the art class, and not every student has to take in grade 9 and 10, but those who are, I believe are really going to get an excellent art education and expand their skills and really grow this year and next year with Dinda teaching them. A few key takeaways from Cambridge IGCSE Art and Design. They need to build critical thinking. They explore different medias throughout it. And so she'll be doing that in different medias and different lessons. It's very project-based. They're creating artwork as they do it. And it requires and creates visual stimulation and integrates really well with other subjects. So they'll be looking for ways to kind of show maybe what they learned in other subjects or use the topics or the ideas in their artwork and communicate that through visual ways. Megan, you're up.
Hi, Fluent Village families. It's so nice to see all of you. My name is Megan Ginter, and I am really excited to serve as your children's English teacher this year. Growing up, I lived in Cleveland, Ohio, which is located in the northeast part of the United States. And from a young age, I loved to read and write because there's so much creativity involved with both of those. With reading, you might not think it's an opportunity for creativity of your own. But I think hearing other people's stories then gives you, it builds your imagination and helps you stay curious about the world. I also believe as a Christian that studying literature helps us develop empathy and love for our neighbors, which is so central to then sharing our faith. At Calvin University, I expanded my understanding of English as I studied literature in both the United States and the United Kingdom. I hold a bachelor's degree, bachelor's of arts degree in both English and secondary education, along with a minor in communication studies. So I'm really hoping to integrate that, those communication practices in our English curriculum as well. I've worked in a variety of school settings, including public, private, and Christian schools, and supporting students in the settings through in-person, online, and hybrid learning, which I'm hoping we'll be able to move from our fully remote to hybrid learning like we had originally planned. And this year, I am really eager to support your students as we study poetry, prose, composition, and communication, all in preparation for those IGCSE exams. And through all of these genres of English, I am really looking forward to examining the common threads of Christ's love through literature and all the other areas. So thank you, and I'm excited to get to know all of you.
Good morning. It is morning. Yes, it is morning. Good morning, parents. It is so fun to get to see you. I feel so blessed to have worked with some of you for so many years. It's my year now here at Fluent Village, and I love getting to continue building relationship with your children and with you as well. So 9 years, this is my 9th year now at Sphpv, originally from Ohio, actually about a half an hour south of where Miss Megan is from, is where I grew up. So that was a fun connection when we realized that. Studied elementary education and intercultural studies, which is exactly what I get to do now. Though not so much elementary. I'm working on with the older kids now, but I'm also working on my master's, and I'm finishing up that in the next couple of months, looking specifically at middle school and how that can be the most effective for our kids' social emotional development. Next slide, I think, has the next information too. As the chaplain, I've got some fun roles, one of which is being the grade 6 to 10 Bible teacher. There's a lot of students I get to interact with this year. And while it is a little overwhelming to have so many, I am so excited to get to know them even better, especially these older guys who I've got to have for quite a while. Can you go to the next slide? It'll be a little bit bigger for us to see it, I think. I also, one of my favorite parts is the one-on-one and small group support that I get to offer. I love meeting with students who have questions about life or faith, or meeting with groups of students who are all struggling with the same who have the same struggles. If that's awesome. I coordinate MSL. Last year, it was really cool to see the student council kids get the rest of the senior school on board and being able to bring in donations and raise some money in order to support our ministry partners, which hopefully we'll be able to continue encouraging them and supporting them even as we are in lockdown right now. I'm involved with all the chats and yeah, student council. It's fun to get to see some of you parents whose students who I've worked with on student council to see their leadership grow. For Bible, this is not new to you parents, but a reminder, our focus in Bible is not on the grades. Our focus is on exploration, exploring scripture and God's purpose for our lives, and growing, whether that's growing in faith or growing personally or growing in knowledge and enthusiasm. So we don't use the traditional grade indicators. They get pass or not pass with a lot of comments as they receive feedback. So the expectation is that they complete their work and they show growth. And that can be growth as they have quizzes or projects or personal reflections as well. So please do not hesitate to email me if you need anything. I love getting to talk with you about your children and seeing how I can best support them. I love them all so very, and I am so excited to get to work with you all this year to help make this be a great year for them.
Good to see you all. I'm Mr. Tim, not the principal, but a different Mr. Tim. I'm from Oregon, Portland, Oregon, USA, and I've been doing band for a while. I'm the band teacher here, grades 5 through 10. And yeah, been teaching band for about 10 years, from beginning band all the way up to adults. And I've got a lot of performing experience, most notably with Carolina Crown. So that was a fun time. I love playing music, teaching music. But I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the band program this year. Band is affected by virtual learning, I don't think, like any other subject. And so we're supposed to be together when we play band. And so one of the biggest things I want to focus on while we're doing this in-person in this online learning is just to connect with your kids and to remind them of how playing music is supposed to be enjoyable. So I'm not going to harp a lot about achievement or notes or getting the right things. I want to focus more on the community and just, do the best we can through this tough time for band. I want to teach them how to practice. Being a performer, I'm pretty experienced in understanding how to both run a rehearsal for teaching and then also practice on my own. And it's kind of the same thing. So I'm going to teach them how. I've got some tips and tricks, like when to practice where, and just how to structure it so that they won't go to you and say, oh, he wants me to practice, but I don't know how. And then I just believe that consistency is more important than quality or quantity of practice. So if your kid is playing their band instrument for like 10 minutes a day, but they're doing it all the time, that's I'm looking for. I'm not looking for 6 hours a day. Just a little bit each day helps. And so that consistency is more important, I believe. Concerts are going to be pretty similar to what you've seen last year, I think. We're going to try and do some online thing, but I'm going to keep it in the works here. I'm not going to release too much information, but just know that it's going to be pretty similar. And then when we get back in person, it's going to be, I can do that. It's just band. So, and then as far as like subjects we'll touch, I'll talk a little bit about music history, musicology, which is kind of like the geography of music, music theory. And then I do want to do a little unit on careers. Not that they would necessarily have a career in music, but just to show them the opportunities that are available to them and just explore the world of music a little bit more. So that's band.
It's me. Selamat siang. It's good with you again. 我是张老师. I was born in Sichuan, China. And I taught Chinese in Chengdu International School for 12 years. And this year is my 8th year in Sphpv village. I graduated from Sichuan University, and now I am attending University of South Wales doing the master. I am very excited to teach senior school this year. So I am really looking forward to students' improvement of all areas, including listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Yeah, thank you. That's all.
All right. Hi, parents. My name is Miss Stephanie, and I teach grade to 10 mathematics. I'm also the homeroom teacher for grade 9 this year, and I'm really excited for that. So I'm from Jakarta, and I grew up half and half in Jakarta in Texas. Also, I graduated from Harapan University with Bachelor of Science in Mathematics. I grew up in an international community, both in Jakarta and in Texas. So our students and I, we have that connection. We grew up in the same kind of international setting, and I'm glad that I can connect with them in that way. So the biggest thing about my education from Harapan is that I had the privilege to see mathematics through a Christian perspective, and that's my goal here in Sphpv, to share that with our students and to open their eyes that math is more than just boring algorithms or just procedures. So that's my goal for this year. Go ahead, go into the next slide. All right, so a lot of the grade 10s, they already have this calculator here. Like what Mr. John said earlier, this graphing calculator will benefit your students in lots of ways. They will use this graphing calculator beyond Sphpv. They will use it in grade 11, 12, and then in the university, even in grad school. So even today, I even own those two graphing calculators because we use it for a lot of things. So make sure that your students have this. Math IGCSE has 3 papers, and 2 of them, they allow to use calculators. So if you have the tools, why not use it, right? So that's my goal for this year. Also, one thing before I pass it to the next teacher, I want to remind you guys that for math, this year, I'm doing a flipped classroom. So what that means is that I have pre-recorded all of my lessons on YouTube, and then I give them links 1 week ahead of time so that they can watch it as homework. So I get this comment a lot from parents. They say, Miss Stephanie, I'm so bad at math, I cannot help my students in algebra nor trig. That's okay. So the flipped classroom allows me to help them in class. So their homework usually that was done at home will be done in class. So make sure that you encourage your students to come and find me during PBL and office hours so I can help them with all of that. All right, I'm gonna pass it to Miss Hannah now.
All right, thanks, Miss Steph. So I have been at Sphpv now for 5 years. This is my 5th year, and I'm really excited to be the grade 10 homeroom teacher this year with your kids, with my students who I've had for a few years and been teaching them. And I'll be teaching science this year for grade 7, 9, and 10. So excited to do that as well, and to help prepare them for the IGCSE test, but also just to see how far they've come in their scientific thinking and skills and all of that back from when they were in grade 7. So it's really cool to see. And so a bit of review, I guess, because I've met a lot of you, but my degree is in science comprehensive education. So that's anywhere from grades 6 through 12. So I'm excited to, like I said, get to teach some of the older grades and concepts as well. And then maybe not all of you knew this, but I am finishing up my master's in science from King's College. I'll graduate in February. So I've been working on that, and it's in psychology and neuroscience of mental health, which basically means that I love science. I love to learn about the brain and all of that, but I also love my students, and I love to be able to study about how, I guess, all of our brains work and mental health, and in this time be able to learn about it myself, but also help them to learn about themselves a little bit. So those are some cool things that I get to do and learn about. And so that is a bit of me. And here's some pictures here of science class when we were in person, the lab, and Miss Lydia there helping us out. You'll get to hear from her in a minute, but also some of our experiments at home, which you all got to experience last year. So we'll have more of those this year, and I hope that it really helps them to learn and it's not too messy, but even sometimes when it is, that they get the chance to work on cleaning those up. You can tell them that it's their job to clean it up, but learn and remember from that process as well. So thank you all for bearing with us in that and helping give your students this opportunity to learn in a bit of a different way, even at home. All right, next.
It's good to see you, parents. I'm Miss Lydia. This is my 3rd year at PV. As Miss Hannah said, I'm working with Miss Hannah with science in 7, 9, and 10, and then doing lab thingy together with students too. I'm graduated from Pelita Harapan University or UPH with major biology education for secondary school. And me and Miss Hannah really like to escape how God's creation through science and then make students wonder and then adore God through science, and then having a process, learn together, and then have experience with science. That's it. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, Pluit family. My name is Yingli Huang. I'm Huang Laoshi. I'm the new Mandarin teacher of grade 6 to grade 10. I am very grateful that I am able to work with my students and the teachers and parents here in Pluit Village. This is the first year I teach at Pluit Village. So this year, I wish I could know my students better and guide and help them improve in Mandarin. And I want to encourage students and to communicate in Mandarin in class, and also actively involve in classroom activities. This is my goal of this year. And I was born and raised in China. I taught Mandarin first in Berlin and Germany, and then in China. And now I am in Kampala. I worked as a lecturer and teaching Mandarin at Confucius Institute at Macquarie University. So I want myself not just a Mandarin teacher. I am a Christian Mandarin teacher. So this is my goal, and thank you.
You guys can hear me. Thank you, teachers. But you know what? Let me tell you something. They said save the best for the last. So I'm believing this is the last one, right? That's the best one. All right, let's go into it. Anyway, parents, I'm Gabriel. I graduated from UPEA. This is my third year teaching PE. Second year in Fluid Village. And I'll be working with grade 10, still grade 10. One thing I love seeing young people disciplining themselves in sports, but what I believe is the discipline they practice doing sports can be applied in every aspect of life, spiritually, their relationship with their friends. So that's what I'm hoping to keep on encouraging. And yeah, as the students grow, they grow holistically. And I keep on working with them when it comes to discipline, because that's one thing I value in life. All right, thank you very much.
All righty. Thank you, parents, for coming, for listening to our overview of our program and meeting our new teachers. I want to close this by just repeating how excited I am to work with this team, how great of a group of teachers we have, how nice it's been as a coordinator school growing, to see our team growing, how much the new teachers we're bringing in, Miss Megan and Mr. Tim and Miss Huang Laoshi, are bringing new experience and new enthusiasm and new ideas to our programs, and how that's going to build in the foundation that we've been building over the last years, and that those of us who've been here have been doing. I've been able to see it in meetings. I've been able to see the way that they understand their subjects, and that the way that they bring that out in them. And all of them are people who just epitomize their subjects. And so I think your children are going to be really blessed to have them and to have this whole team teaching them. It is a stellar group of teachers, and I'm blessed to work with them. I hope that you're excited for this year. We're excited for what we're going to be able to do with your students this year, and for the new opportunities that having grade 10 and expanding our senior school are offering to our school. So thanks for coming to our PBL. Thanks for taking time to meet us. If you have questions, you can send them to your child's homeroom teacher. We'll send the PowerPoint in our emails at the end of this week. So if you want to look over something or be reminded of anything, you can see it there. And I hope that you guys have a fantastic, fantastic day. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Bye, thanks for joining.